good afternoon actually now, and a warm welcome to our special session as we celebrate CNBC TV 18's 25th anniversary, a quarter of a century of capturing the pulse of markets, stories of resilience and success, and the voices that shape the financial landscape. And actually, four of them are right here with me. 1999, the first time CNBC TV 18 hit the airwaves, the mahal of the market was thick with the promise of the new millennium. Y2K fears were testing nerves and the optimism about a tech-driven future that seemed just within reach. It was the dawn of India's emergence as a global IT powerhouse, a story mirrored in the corridors of bustling brokerage firms and whispered over cups of chai. Now, to jog everyone's memory, 99 was also the year that the Kargil War was imposed on us, and of course our brave hearts fought and won it. Coming over to Mumbai and Bollywood, the nation was dancing to the tunes of Karan Johar's Koi Mil Gaya from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. And by the way, Karan is going to be here later as well. Investors, though, were humming the same tune, but for tech stocks, IT stocks. HCL Tech had just launched its IPO. Infosys was the undisputed Badshah of the Bazaar, and the Sensex had just hit 5,000 for the first time. By the way, over across the oceans, NVIDIA had just made its debut on Wall Street. So as we raise a toast to 25 years of CNBC TV 18, let's take a moment to appreciate the journey, the bull runs, the bear claws, and everything in between. Welcome to this session with four legends of the market who are with us from the very beginning and need absolutely no introduction. Gentlemen, thank you very much, all of you. I want to start by asking Rameshji, if you want to start, what do you remember of 1999?
Thanks, Prashant. Thank you first for having me here. It's been an exhilarating 25 years. I mean, it's bookended by, as you said, the Y2K problem in 99 and the pandemic a few years ago. But it's been an exhilarating journey for all of us as investors, and to see it was very interesting not only from markets, politics, and business point of view. From markets, the Sensex, as you pointed out, was 5,000. It's closer to 80,000. But what people may not know, the Dow at that time was 11,000. So we were half the Dow level. Now we're almost double the Dow level. We're at 80,000 in the Dow at 45,000. So that's been extraordinary. Of course, in rupee terms, it's cheating a little bit, but that's what it is. In terms of markets, as you said correctly, Infosys got listed, and also NVIDIA got listed, as you said. And one other company that became a tech giant got listed in 95, which is Alibaba by Jack Ma. That got listed in 99. And in terms of politics, what I find interesting, of course, October 12th, General Pervez Musharraf came to power in a coup in Pakistan. October 13th, Bajpayee ji was sworn in as for the third time as Prime Minister of India. So exhilarating year, and exhilarating 25 years, Prashant.
Oh, lovely, absolutely. Ramdev ji, were you humming Koi Mil Gaya or were you watching Infosys?
No, I think we have been the biggest beneficiary of birth of CNBC TV 18, personally as well as the firm. And the spread of equity culture and common man really embracing the CNBC and the markets. And now, finally, it is happening. I mean, what seeds have been shown is from 99, finally from 2020, the demat explosion which is happening. I think the role you all have played is immense. So I'm sure this is just about the start of the journey of yet another, what Dr. Rangarajan said about deregulation of Indian economy, dismantle everything, dollar, rupee, interest rates, everything. I think that moment is here in Indian equities, starting from 2020-21. And let's see how, when there will be some ceremony, 25 years henceforth. And then they'll remember what Indian equities have done in next 25 years. I
mean, you've been a sort of absolute bull, and you've kept the faith, Ramdevji, and you've made the money. You just mentioned 25 years from here. You want to, right at the beginning, you want to tell us where we will be? Index levels, 25?
2 raised to power 5. So I think, you see, that 50, I've been in the market for 45 years, and I have seen Sensex at 100, which is at about 80,000 plus. So that has given about 15% compounded. There is no reason now Forex balance and the kind of goal clarity we have, we want to be Viksit Bharat by 47 and all. So those kind of things, they are even more encouraging, but I would not take the compounding to be even a bit higher than 15%. So every 5 years you'll double, and 2 raised to power 5 in next 25 years. Actually, when you talk about 25 years, you don't believe where it will reach, but we'll reach there.
That's very well put, Manish. What do you remember? 99.
They said it well. Actually, it's hard to imagine India's total market capitalization was below $200 billion, which is not even equal to what TCS or Reliance alone have today. And that's been the journey, that 25 times the market cap has gone up from 200 billion to north of 5 trillion. And I agree with him entirely that next 20 years, if you don't do 16 times more from here, I'm working on the basis that I'll be older and grayer, although I'm 10 years younger, I must confess. So I'm the baby on the panel. But I think in the next 20 years, if we don't do 10 to 15 times even from here, I'll be surprised. And we are on a takeoff trajectory. But I remember 1999 for the heroic valor of the Indian Army in the Kargil War. And the phrase which had got all of us youngsters back then was, "Ye dil mange more," from Bikram Batra when he took Tiger Top. So salute to the Army for keeping us the way we are.
Absolutely. And very well put, Manish. Ramesh, you want to add something?
No, I mean, it's a salute, and it's been an exhilarating journey that I find it astonishing. But one thing that I would probably disagree with Manish is that we can't extrapolate what happened in the last 30 years to the next 30. Otherwise, China would have been soaring in the clouds right now. It doesn't typically happen. And I do feel, for whatever it's worth, I think India will do fine, and it's a risk not to be invested. But I do feel that on November 5th, 2024, what happened in America changed the world. I think we'll understand the implications of that in a few years from now. When I was a young man in 1989 and the Berlin Wall fell, I knew something had changed in the world. I couldn't figure out what it was. But it was a triumph of capitalism over communism. That became more apparent as the years rolled by. So I think in the next 25 years, America is such an important world player, 30% of the global economy, 60% of the market cap of the world, that what happens in America influences the rest of the world. And unfortunately, I think America started looking backwards, looking inwards. I think we did a word cloud 25 years from now or 10 years from now. I think one word that would come up very frequently is a word called mercantilism. A change in the free trade, UN, and NATO. The world grew on the back of America. May not happen in the next 5, 10 years. So the world will definitely look different. I would not be one to extrapolate straight into the future, but there'll be lots of opportunities to make money.
And I want to pick on those points in just a bit, Ramesh, because that is also something we want to address, because markets have been going through a bit of a tough phase. But let's welcome in Ashish Bhai as well. I can say with some confidence that the three of you here and many in the audience are shareholders of National Stock Exchange. For those who don't know, NSE is now valued at $60 billion. It's, if it were listed today, it would be in the top 10 in terms of market capitalization. But Ashish Bhai, let's start at 99. I mean, you're also someone who actually, I can say, built the markets, the market infrastructure. You were at the NSE in 99. What do you remember of that year?
Thank you, and thank you for calling me. I think in some ways, the infrastructure of the capital markets, those days, it was a satta bazaar, right? All of us are wearing, at least they are wearing suits and coats. I am still on the older style. But those days, it was considered, basically nobody trusted. That $200 billion was probably 30% of banking system. 30%, the capital markets were very small and considered a kind of a sort of avoidable activity. Today, it is almost 220%, 2.5, or a few days back it was 2.5 times. Now, probably it's 220% of the entire banking system. That is the change. And the back end that NSE came about, first year it became larger than any exchange in India, but it also started clearing corporation. It started depositories. They were all building blocks of creating a framework, and then we were also working on setting up derivatives. So 1999, Vajpayee government came, and one of the first things I was told was that we required a change in the Securities Contract Regulation Act if we need to set up a derivatives market. And so we started working on that, although we were working on derivatives from 1995. At the last moment, it came saying, if you don't do this, this will not work. And so, of course, we went to the parliament, got cleared, and that's where the derivatives actually came about in 2000. I think June 12 is when NSE started.
You fought for derivatives back then, and now you're fighting for them again.
And
It's
I
come full
think
circle.
one of the first panels, I recall CNBC office just behind TV towers in Worli in Mumbai. It was like a industrial place, and it was with M.G. Damani, who used to be the ex-president of Bombay Stock Exchange. I was like 27, 20-year-old, and he was the doyen. And he was opposing derivatives, and I was saying, the derivatives are going to change things, although the Nick Leeson part in 95 had actually brought down and it had got bad reputation. But I'd say things are going to change, and there were, of course, worries about overtrading those days also. So some of those same debates keep on coming, but what India has done over the last 25 years has been phenomenal.
But do you think we've taken a hard turn on derivatives here? Or we can't say that as of now?
See, it's the overtrading issues will come up because the technology has changed. It's like travel. People used to travel by walking, and then it became bullock cart. It became several times faster. And then people were saying, why should people be traveling so much without sort of achieving anything? And then it became car. And you might have seen Naya Daur, right? If you have not seen, you should see that movie called Naya Daur. It is basically saying that old systems will have to change, although on a particular day, old systems may win. But the new technologies will, and then of course, railways and...
Right. So the answer is, it's here to stay. It is
and
here to
for
stay.
me,
And
as far as the society is able to manage the risk, we should be able to continue providing facilities for people to manage risks and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I want to... all of you are, we invite you for wisdom, to learn from all of you in terms of what the lessons are for, and so many new investors have come into the market over the last 4 years specifically. 10.5 crore investors in this market now. Rameshji, before I get to here and now and what from here, just 2 or 3 most important lessons that new investors should remember.
Sure. I think 30 years in the market, Prashant, have taught me 2 things. One, remain broadly invested in the market. You can't time the market. It'll go up and down and you'll be happy and then you'll suddenly miss the great rally. A lot of the gains come in a very scattered amount of time. So broadly remain invested in high quality businesses, if you will. The second, of course, I think which all 3 will agree is the magic of compounding that takes place. I think you should never let that be interrupted. It's like you're rolling a ball of snow, as Buffett said, down a hill. So you want to make sure that the hill is very long, which means either you're very young or you live very old. And that's what's magical. I think compounding can take, in one generation, from poverty to wealth, if it's done properly. So I think the enduring lesson that I want to give to a younger audience or to a young India is understand how compounding work. It's actually the 8th wonder of the world.
Ramdevji, just 2 or 3 top lessons for investors, what you've learned really and imbibed.
I mean, for the guys who can afford, they should buy only equities out of their savings. Should be fully invested. Don't time the market, what Ramesh said. It works brilliant. I mean, I've seen 45 years. It goes very smooth. Some days are painful, but that's the price you pay for 15% portfolio yield. So that's been the message. And there are only 2 markets in the world which are compounded, America and India. And we are lucky to be in India, I'm telling you. Because in China, which is as big a market, or much bigger market, you have, like, in 2020, CSI 300 was about 2,000, and in 25 years, they are struggling at 4,000. We were at that time 1,000 Nifty. Today we are at 24, 25,000. So that smoothness of the market is extremely important. That slope is very, very important, and that's the achievement of Indian way of working, entrepreneurship, the political management, the bankers' freedom to determine interest rates and those kind of things, and ever-building institution. You look at, I don't think there is anything like NSE in the whole world. I mean, you clear $7, $8, $9 trillion, and they can do still 5, 10x of that without any problem. So this country has that capability to create, and this technology, the digital technology, is so exponential. I think we have to be optimists. First thing is you have to be optimist to come in the market and stay invested and wait for your compounding to happen, because patience is going to be the most important thing.
Time in the market, basically.
Time in the market, but patience. While you are in the market, you should bring the patience when the things are bad.
Yeah.
Like when the markets are roaring, everybody's in the market. But when times are bad, actually markets are falling. That time you should have the patience and stay invested.
I'm going to ask you whether this is one of those times in just a bit, but Manish, tell us, your 2 or 3.
Yeah, continuation of the same. So number one is the price that you pay is the only thing you control as an investor. So when there are times like what we're going through now, is not the time to lose the faith, but to actually double down. So enter at good prices. The soil in India is fertile for entrepreneurs and business. So stay the long haul because you will compound a lot of money. And 3, back the right leadership. You can be in the best business with the wrong jockey on the horse, as you call it. But if you find the right jockey, he's going to make even a stupid horse run well. So back the right people, the right business, think long-term, be long-term greedy. But remember, price is the only thing in your hand. So be very, very strict on that.
I think all of you have backed the jockey sitting to your left. Ashish bhai.
Come on, Ashish.
So when are we going to see, how close are we to a listing at the NSE?
We do list companies every day.
It's a nice one.
And this year itself, we have listed 150 companies. 50 in the main board, 100 in the SME. This financial year, that is from April 1 onward. So effectively, keep on listing. But if you are referring to NSE's listing, we don't have visibility.
But are we closer than we were last year?
I mean, every step looks closer, but ultimately...
Manzil dur nahi hai. It's
at the same time, one has to be patient, as they say, because in our case, we wear many hats, especially as regulators, and we need to be very careful on many, many things. At the same time, providing a well-functioning, fair, efficient, transparent, extreme low-cost, very orderly markets are the main priority.
Ashish bhai is using everything you said to avoid answering the question.